and welcome, dear friends. Today I'll talk about Saturn's placement in the 5th house of your chart. What kind of results Saturn can give you if it is in the 5th house of your birth chart. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you want consultation from me, the WhatsApp number is there in the video description. So friends, Saturn is considered to be primarily the significator of, profession in Bhrigu Nandi Nadi astrology. Saturn is the Karma Karak. What will happen if Saturn is in the 5th house? Now friends, whatever results will be discussed in this video, these will be general results. You will definitely experience at least maybe say 70% of those results you may definitely experience. But then in order to know the exact position and condition of Saturn in your chart, you also need to look at the zodiac sign in which Saturn is placed, where the lord of that sign is placed in your chart, and in what condition it is there. And also you have to look at the nakshatra in which Saturn is placed. Where is the nakshatra lord or the star lord? In which house, in which situation. So all these things also will enable you to understand Saturn's position better. Which planets are aspecting Saturn? Saturn is ruling which houses? Saturn has two signs, Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius is Saturn's Mool Trikon sign. That is why Saturn is an airy element planet, because Aquarius is an airy sign. So which are the two houses that are ruled by Saturn? That also will definitely enable you to understand in what dignity Saturn is sitting in your 5th house. And also you should look at in which house the sign of Libra is there, because Libra is the sign of exaltation of Saturn. So that means Saturn will be exalted in that house. And the sign of debilitation of Saturn is Aries. So friends, all these things also you should look at. But let us look at what results Saturn will give you. First of all, what is Saturn? Saturn is the planet of karma. Saturn is the planet of time, of justice, of discipline. Saturn is the planet of delay, of obstruction, of fear and darkness. Saturn is also the planet that signifies obstacles, and it signifies even chronic diseases. Yes, it is the planet which also signifies analytical skills. So Saturn, that is why it also signifies that higher form of intellect, which enables a person to have great analytical skills, research skills. So all these things are signified by Saturn. Saturn also signifies secrecy. So Saturn. So what results? Saturn is a significator of death and also longevity. Now Saturn is in the 5th house. 5th house is actually the house of your creativity. So what will happen when the planet of obstruction and limitation comes to the house of creativity? Saturn is the planet of even scarcity and poverty. It represents the masses. It represents the people who are unprivileged. It also represents the working class, all 4th grade employees and servants and helpers and scavengers. It represents them. 5th house is the house of education also. School, high school education and college education is seen from the 5th house. So there may be some obstacles in attaining such education. 5th house also signifies education, as I told you. And say if Saturn is in good dignity, then you will definitely be a sincere student, sincere and hardworking student. You will be goal oriented. If you have Saturn is in good dignity in the 5th house, then the student may want to study a certain subject or may want to do or pursue a certain academic degree which is going to help him in the long run in his career or profession. Because Saturn believes in being realistic. If Saturn is mature, realistic. Yes, so Saturn is very practical and very goal oriented. It looks at long-term goals always. It is far-sighted. So all these things related to education. Then we can also say this is the house of creativity. So some obstruction in expressing your creative abilities, some obstacles you will have to encounter. until the age of 35. You may not be able to express your artistic talents and creative abilities until 35, because maybe there'll be so many responsibilities on your shoulders that those hidden talents will remain with you, and you may get the opportunity to kind of highlight or showcase them only after the age of 35. Because the third house is also the house of skills that we have, and if you apply in Parashari Jyotish, there is a concept called Bhavad Bhavam theory. If you apply that theory, then fifth house is third from the third house. So according to the Bhavad Bhavam theory, fifth house is also the house of skills and artistic talents. So friends, you will be able to kind of express or highlight those talents later in life, because Saturn causes delay. Then also we can say that fifth house is the house of love and romance. Now, because Saturn is there, Saturn is a planet of restriction, obstruction. So even if there may be, even if the native, may be into a love relationship, he might be, into such a relationship, but then there might be a breakup. Because Saturn is also, a planet which can cause obstruction and which can, cause separation also. Separation. Saturn is also a planet that signifies isolation. So usually, if Saturn is in the fifth house, then love relationships usually don't work for the native. Or if Saturn is in good dignity, then also there may be a situation that the native may be very loyal and very dutiful towards his partner. That also may be the case, and the relationship may go on for many years. It may be a very it may be a very successful and a relationship which could be very stable also. That also we can say. But even if sometimes it is seen in certain charts that the relationship went on for many years, but finally there was a breakup, this also may happen. Because Saturn is in the fifth house. Saturn will make the person very practical, very goal oriented, very realistic. That person will not be easily carried away by emotions and love, love and romance. They are all about emotions. So Saturn is not emotional. Saturn is very practical. In the first place, there may not be any love relationship at all. And if at all there is a love relationship, then the person will make sure, that, this relationship, eventually, consummates in marriage. So he will have such long-term plans. Saturn makes you far-sighted. He will look at the relationship also very realistically. Only then he will, enter into such a relationship. If he thinks that yes, there is a future with this person, then only he will commit. Otherwise, he will not commit. This also is seen. Then friends, let us go to the other aspects of the fifth house. Fifth house is also the house of speculation. Say for example, the investment in stocks and shares, that is also seen from the fifth house. Now Saturn causes delay, it causes scarcity. Saturn is a planet of restriction, so it is better if the native does not invest in stocks and shares. It is better to remain away from the stock market, because if you do that, then you may have to suffer losses. Then friends, what else we can say? But yes, you also have to look at, Saturn is the lord of which house? Say if Saturn is the lord of 12th house, 12th house is also a house of loss. Then you should never invest in stocks and shares. You have to look at Saturn's dignity properly. Then friends, fifth house. Fifth house is also the Dharm Trikon house. Yes, because 1, 5, 9, they are the Dharm Trikon. So fifth house also is the house of faith. So Saturn is the planet of skepticism and doubt. So the native may even be skeptical about his own religious faith. It is also the house of prosperity. Prosperity is also seen from the fifth house. So some delay in attaining prosperity in life. Fifth house is the house of knowledge and intellect. Yes, and Saturn is a slow moving planet. It gives you results in due course of time. So if the native is, hardworking and diligent, then definitely in due course of time he will be knowledgeable. If Saturn is there in the 5th house, because Saturn also blesses you with analytical skills. You will be very critical, you will have great critical and analytical skills, you will have the ability to think critically, to use your logic and reason and think very critically and go to the root of every matter. That ability is also granted by Saturn, especially if it is in good dignity. So friends, all these things, whatever I told you, in Nadi astrology, we consider that Saturn will have certain aspects. So first of all, we consider the first aspect of Saturn. The first aspect of Saturn will fall on the very house in which Saturn is seated, that is on the 5th house. Then you can expect all these results which I mentioned just now. 5th house is also the house of your child or children. There may be some obstacles in childbirth because Saturn is there, some delay in childbirth. And even if you have a child or if you have children, then there is a possibility, especially in the case of the first child, you may say that the native may not have a very good relationship with his child, especially if it is a male child, or I have seen even in charts, even if it is a female child, the native may not have good relationship with the child. The relationship may be problematic, or the child may live far away from the parent and may not keep in touch even with the native. That also I have seen. Now friends, all these things will happen because Saturn's first aspect is falling on the 5th house. Let us go to Saturn's second aspect. Saturn's second aspect will fall on the 6th house. If Saturn is in good dignity, then definitely you will always win over your enemies. Your enemies will never be able to harm you because you have that insight, you have that analytical ability to judge every situation. So, your enemies cannot harm you. If Saturn is in good dignity, then Saturn will always protect you from all kinds of diseases. And even, there will be a delay in loans. You may want to take some loan, but Saturn will delay that affair. So that also can happen. So all the negative things, because 6th house is also a sort of malefic house. So whatever, negative things are associated with the 6th house, now Saturn will restrict them and obstruct them, which is a good thing. Saturn will aspect the 6th house. Second aspect is powerful in Nadi astrology. The 6th house is also the house of your daily routine. So if Saturn is in good dignity, it will make the native very disciplined in his day-to-day life. Very disciplined. 6th house is also in a way the house of health. So the native also will be very health conscious, very disciplined in his day-to-day life. That's a good thing. But if Saturn is not in good dignity, then the native may not follow a proper daily routine. He may not be disciplined. Then his health also will deteriorate. Yes? So all these things we can say. Now friends, Saturn's next aspect, that is a third aspect, which is very important from the point of view of profession in Nadi astrology. I'm talking about Bhrigu Nandi Nadi. So that aspect, third aspect, will fall in the 7th house, profession. 7th house is also in a way the house of profession. In Parashari Jyotish, we have this concept of Bhavad Bhavam. So 7th house is 10th from the 10th house. 10th house is the house of profession. So 7th is also then, because it is 10th from the 10th, it is also in a way the house of profession. So independent business, 7th house is also connected to a kind of business which you start on your own or in legal partnership with somebody. So Saturn is aspecting. If Saturn is well placed, then you will definitely gain success in your independent business. It may cause some delay. Maybe after the age of 35, you will be able to start your own business. But nevertheless, you will attain success if Saturn is in good dignity. Otherwise, what will happen, friends? You may not be able, there will be a lot of delay. You will have to encounter a lot of obstacles in, launching or, in doing that business. That also may happen if Saturn is afflicted. Then Look at, you know, 7th house is the house of your conjugal life, your marriage, your marital life. Saturn is aspecting. So some obstacles, some problematic relationship with the spouse may be there. That is seen. The native may look upon his spouse with a sense of suspicion and doubt. He may be very critical, very judgmental about his spouse. So these things are not good for marital life. But if Saturn is in good dignity, then definitely the native also will be very dutiful towards his spouse. You know, he'll be very responsible, very dutiful, which will enable that marriage to be, you know, a long lasting relationship. And this marriage, you know, in the long run will be successful, because the native will now deal with his marital life in a very practical, mature and realistic way, because all these qualities will be granted by Saturn if Saturn is in good dignity. Next, let us go to Saturn's 5th aspect, friends. 5th aspect is a trinal aspect in Nadi astrology, which is very auspicious. 5th aspect is falling on the 9th house. 9th house is the house of religion. 9th house is the house of your father. Trinal aspect. So you will be dutiful towards your father. You will definitely, you know, shoulder all the responsibilities that a child should shoulder. That we can say. If Saturn is afflicted, then there may be some problem, you know, with the father. You may have a difficult relationship, but then along with time, your differences, you know, may be sorted out along with time. Only after the age of 35, you can say that, you know, the relationship will improve. It is also the house of long travels. So there is a strong indication, because Saturn's 3rd aspect is also the aspect of profession. So you will have to, you know, undertake long travels for your profession. That also we can say. There may be at times a delay in those travels, but then you will have to undertake long travels for your profession especially. And friends, 9th house is also the house of your religious faith, of your religion. So you may be skeptical about your own religion. You may not take whatever other followers of your religion are, you know, giving you, or whatever, you know, others are asking you to, you know, believe in. You may not take everything for granted. You may question the practices that are there in your own religion, because you are now very analytical. You want to get to the root of things. So you will now, you know, perceive religion maybe in a different way. You may be even secretive about your religious philosophy, about your religious faith. That also may happen. So that also can be seen. And friends, 9th house is also the house of your fortune. So Saturn is there, you know, Saturn's aspect is there. So some delay in attaining good fortune. But because this is a trinal aspect which is around 75% powerful, so definitely, you know, fortune will smile upon you after the age of 35. It will happen, provided you keep working hard in a consistent manner with patience. Then definitely, you know, you will attain good fortune in the near future after you attain, say, the age of 35. Then friends, let us go to Saturn's 7th aspect. 7th, the direct aspect, mutual aspect, is falling. I mean, it is Saturn's direct aspect. It is called the 7th aspect. It is falling on the 11th house, 11th house of gains. So some delay in gains. You expected to, you know, gain from your profession. You expected that there would be some rise in income, but then there will be some delay in that. Saturn will cause that delay. You will have to overcome certain obstacles. Saturn is testing your patience actually, because from the 5th house, Saturn is now directly aspecting the house of your gains. All kinds of gains actually, especially pertaining to profession, or all kinds of gains in life. You will have to wait for that now. So after the age of 35, you will definitely, you know, be able to benefit from your profession, and you will be able to see a growth and rise in your income. But there is a condition. You will have to be patient, perseverant, and you will have to consistently move towards your goal, work hard with a sense of discipline. That's what Saturn wants. If you do that, then definitely you will rise, you know, in life. 11th house is also the house of your desires, your wishes, your hopes, your dreams and goals. So there may be some delay in the fulfillment of those desires. Some delay will be there, but yes, if you are, as I said just now, if you are disciplined and hardworking, then definitely, and if you have patience, then definitely Saturn will reward you and you will be able to fulfill all your wishes and desires, especially after the age of 35. Then friends, 11th house is also the house of your elder siblings. So your relationship with your elder siblings, your friends, and also with people in your social network will improve with time, will definitely improve after the age of 35. Now let's go to Saturn's 9th aspect. 9th aspect will fall. 9th is also a trinal aspect, which is around 70% powerful. That trinal aspect will fall on your first house because it is a trinal aspect. So it will make you someone who's very auspicious, who's very disciplined. Now friends, it also depends on the dignity in which Saturn is placed. If Saturn is in good dignity, in a good sign and nakshatra, then definitely you will become someone who's very disciplined, who's a workaholic, who's very goal oriented, who is somebody who's a seeker of justice. And so maybe you will be compassionate towards the unprivileged, towards the towards the masses, because Saturn also represents the masses. You'll be compassionate towards them. You will stand up for them. You will always stand up against all kinds of injustice. You will do that because Saturn is aspecting. The trinal aspect is falling on the first house. So all these qualities will be there. You'll be very disciplined. So, but if Saturn is somehow afflicted, then we can also say that the native may become pessimistic, because first house is the house of your personality. The native may become someone who's pessimistic, someone who's who has lots of negative thoughts going on in his mind, and who is skeptical about others, who doubts others' integrity, and who is always very critical and very judgmental about others, and who is also very secretive, very secretive. So these things also may happen because that 9th aspect is on the first house. Now friends, let us go to Saturn's next aspect, that is the 10th aspect, which is the karma aspect. That is falling on your second house of your accumulated wealth. After all, Saturn is aspecting the second house. So some delay in accumulating wealth. Maybe you'll be able to accumulate wealth only after the age of 35. There will be delay. So that is the 10th aspect, which is also very powerful. So you will accumulate, but after the age of 35, we can say around 35. Family, it is the house of your family, second house. So some problems with certain family members, a difficult or problematic relationship with some of them may be there. So, but then along with time, those differences may be sorted out, and then definitely you will share a healthy relationship with your family members. So that may happen because Saturn is the planet of isolation. It is aspecting, the 10th aspect is on the second house of family. It may isolate you from your family. Maybe for your profession or for any other reason, you remain isolated from your family. That also may happen. Then friends, second house is the house of your speech. So the person, if Saturn is in good dignity, the person will believe in speaking the truth, speaking what is right and just, if Saturn is in good dignity, because Saturn believes in justice. Saturn believes in righteousness. So then whatever you will say, it will be very just, and you will be very straightforward and forthright. So we also know that truth is bitter at times. So you may even end up hurting people with your speech, because you will not speak, you will never beat about the bush. You will say what is, right, and you will not care. You will just, be to the point. So you might hurt your family members or even close friends or anyone for that matter. So you need to be careful because Saturn is aspecting. Saturn is the planet of karma. So if you hurt people's emotions, then you will have to kind of also pay for that someday, because Saturn makes us pay for all our actions sooner or later. So we need to be careful. And if Saturn is not in good dignity, if it's a little afflicted, then also this is the second house, is the house of speech. The person may be in the habit of telling lies. He may, be in the habit of deceiving people with his speech. That also may happen. So because Saturn is afflicted and now Saturn is aspecting the house of speech, so you need to be careful, because if you deceive people with your speech, then Saturn also will duly punish you for that. Now friends, second house is also the house of our food habits, food intake. And the fifth house, Saturn is posited in the fifth house. So in the chart of the Kalpurush, the fifth house represents the stomach. So your stomach may be a little sensitive because Saturn is there now. If Saturn is there in the fifth house, then the native may have problems in digestion. He may have some gastric trouble and all. If Saturn is there in the fifth house, the digestion process will be delayed and all. So all these things may be there. The native may have certain restriction in diet. Saturn is aspecting the house of your diet and food intake. So Saturn may cause certain restrictions in your diet, which you need to follow. Because if you are allergic to certain food items, you can't take them. You know that you are allergic and you should not take them. In spite of that, if you are taking such food, then your health will deteriorate. There will be, you will suffer from ill health, because Saturn will definitely punish the native for not following the restrictions that he should follow, the dietary restrictions. So that also we can say, because Saturn is aspecting food and even drinks. If Saturn is not in good dignity, then the native, and anyway, because Saturn is aspecting the native, it is advised that the native should remain away from alcohol and all. Because if the native consumes alcohol too much, then what will happen? Saturn will definitely, punish the native in due course of time. That also we can say. And friends, so that is Saturn's 10th aspect. Let us go to Saturn's 11th aspect, which is 30 to 35% effective in Nadi astrology. 11th aspect will fall on the third house. Third house is also the house of your efforts. So Saturn is aspecting now the third house. Third house is also an Upachaya house, the results of which grow over time. So it is a good thing if Saturn is aspecting the third house. You will definitely, put in efforts, and you will definitely work hard with a sense of discipline, with a goal in mind. So that is good actually. You will have certain long-term goals and you will work towards them consistently by making efforts every day. Because Saturn also believes in, repetitive work. Saturn loves to do something repeatedly. Saturn is never tired of that. Saturn doesn't like change. Saturn likes to repeat things daily. So repetitive work. So third house it is aspecting. So it is in a way good. If Saturn is more or less okay in the chart, then you will keep making efforts consistently, which will help you in the long run. Third house is the house of your inner skills and your hobbies. You want to, maybe use those skills that you have to initiate something, because third house is also the house of initiation, initiating some new venture or project. But because Saturn is after all aspecting the 11th aspect, so there will be some delay in initiating that venture. But if you are consistent, if you are, hardworking and diligent and patient, then definitely you will be able to initiate your project or venture in due course of time, especially after the age of 35. That also, third house is the house of your communication. So initially in life, the native may have some hesitation, in communicating his thoughts and ideas. But later on, he will overcome that hesitation, and he will also, improve his communication skills. Because Upachaya house grows with time, and you will get good results if you are making efforts. Then it is also the house of your younger siblings. So relationship with them also will improve over time. Now friends, let us go to Saturn's last aspect, that is Saturn's 12th aspect, which will fall on the 4th house, the house of the mother, which is 20 to 25% effective, the 12th aspect. So it may cause some health problem to the mother, or the native may not have a very cordial relationship with the mother. There may be some problems in that relationship, but then the native needs to sort out their differences and needs to make peace with the mother. Yes, because Saturn is aspecting, so you need to actually be dutiful towards your mother. That is very important, because Saturn is also the planet of duty and responsibility. 4th house is also the house of your mental happiness and joy. Saturn is aspecting, 12th aspect. So some lack of mental peace may be there. But then with time, definitely after the age of 35, you will see that, yes, you will see that you will definitely be able to gain mental happiness and joy, especially within your home. You'll be able to do that. 4th house is also the house of your assets and property, your house or vehicles and all conveniences. So Saturn may cause a little delay in having all these things, but then over time you will definitely be able to own such things. So friends, Saturn is sitting in the 5th house, but then it is aspecting so many other houses, you see. So many other houses of your chart, Saturn's aspect is falling. And so it is influencing even all those other areas of your life. Yes, so Saturn is the planet of hard work, patience, diligence, discipline. So if we try to be disciplined, hardworking, patient, if we be kind to the unprivileged, to the working class, then definitely Saturn will give us good results. Being kind to animals, very important. All these remedies for Saturn, if you do, then Saturn is aspecting so many other areas of your life. So you don't have to worry about anything then. So you need to just do these simple remedies for Saturn. And then Saturn in the 5th house also will definitely give you very good results with time. Friends, do subscribe to my channel and share this video. Thank you so much.